everyone! Welcome to Elements of Art and the start of our unit on space. Speaking of space, have you noticed how close I seem to you right now? But watch this. What happens if I step a little bit farther back? Do I appear to be farther away? Now check this out. What if I go all the way back here? Did you see how I seemed to be in different parts of the image, different distances from you, the viewer? That's an example of the magic of space in art. In today's lesson, we'll be exploring how artists create depth through their use of foreground, middle ground, and background, as well as through their use of positive and negative space. We'll also touch on a few of the things you'll be learning in this unit and mention how the element of space can be seen in various periods of art history. Let's start with a short exercise. Close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath. Imagine you're standing on a long, straight road. Right in front of you, there's a large tree, so close you can almost reach out and touch its rough bark. Now, look a little farther away. There's other trees, smaller and a bit hazy, just out of your reach. Finally, at the end of your sight, thinner and indistinct trees stand, almost blending into the horizon. Now, open your eyes. Were you able to picture the different distances of the trees in your mind? Could you sense how each tree seemed closer or farther away? Let's get started investigating space further. Starting with the basics of space, we have foreground, middle ground, and background. Take a gander at the image on the screen. Which word is illustrated by each part of the image? Pause the video and see if you know the answer. Alright, so if we look at the words themselves, they basically tell us where they belong. Check out the background. It should be the farthest away, existing in the back. Then we have middle ground. Easy to find, right in the middle, yes. And lastly, we have foreground. Fore means in front or before. So in an artwork, the foreground is the part that's right in front of you, the closest to you. Much of art is about telling a story, and so sometimes a painting can be thought of like a stage. Think about it. Have you ever looked at a picture and felt like you could step into it? That's because the artist used these layers to create depth. Think about the background, the part farthest away, like the sky or distant mountains. Why do you think having a background is important? It sets the scene and makes everything else make sense, right? Now, what about the middle ground? It's between the foreground and background and sometimes includes things like trees or buildings that aren't too close or too far. How does it feel when you see something in the middle distance? It can make the scene look more complete and strengthen the idea of depth. And finally, let's talk about the foreground. As the part that's closest to us, it generally has the most detail. Why do you think these details are so important? They grab your attention and pull you into the picture, giving you a first-person sensation as you observe the art. Take a moment and think about different artworks you have seen. Do artists always include a foreground, middle ground, and background? Here's something interesting to note. No. Not every artwork will have all three parts. Sometimes an artist might focus only on the foreground to make something stand out, or just use a background to set a mood. When artists use these layers, they create depth and realism. They guide our eyes through artworks and make them more interesting. It's like telling a story where all the parts come together to bring the scene to life. And even when some parts are missing, understanding these concepts helps us appreciate how artists create different effects and tell their stories. But wait, there's a bit more to space, specifically positive and negative space. Take a glance at this image. This image has positive and negative space, but which is which? There is a subject, the fence, and the area surrounding it, the field. Positive space is the shapes and objects you draw, the stars of your show. Negative space is the empty space around and between those objects. Finding a good balance between positive and negative space is an important concept to understand. Positive space draws our attention, while negative space gives our eyes a place to rest and helps define the positive space, making the overall composition more engaging. Can you see how the negative space around the objects shapes the way we see them? Think about how artists use these spaces to create balance and depth. In a busy scene, negative space can make sure it doesn't feel too crowded, giving the main subjects room to breathe. It's like a dance between what's there and what's not, adding another layer of storytelling to the piece. A further explanation of this idea can be found in your lesson materials and can be completed after the video. In our upcoming lessons in this unit, we'll explore techniques to enhance space in our artwork and dive into linear perspective, a more mathematical technique to create the illusion of depth. As we practice these techniques, you will see how positive and negative space play a role throughout. Now, let's look a bit at how space can be seen in a few different periods of art history. Between the 17th to 19th century, in Japanese ukiyo-e woodblock prints, the use of space was a focus in the creation of dynamic and engaging scenes. Artists like Hokusai used asymmetrical compositions and bold, flat colors to create depth and movement. By using overlapping elements and varying perspectives, ukiyo-e artists captured the bustling life of the Edo period, from landscapes to kabuki actors. How do you think the arrangement of space in ukiyo-e prints influences the viewer's perception of life in Japan? In the late 19th century, Impressionism focused on light and capturing the essence of a moment. Impressionist artists like Monet and Degas used the element of space to make their scenes feel more impactful. By painting en plein air, being outdoors in the environment, and focusing on the effects of natural light, they conveyed the changing qualities of the environment. How do you think the emphasis on light and color affected the way space was represented in Impressionist paintings? In the early to mid-20th century in Surrealism, space was manipulated in imaginative ways. It was used to create dreamlike environments. Artists like Dali, Magritte, and Ernst used distorted perspectives to challenge reality and evoke the subconscious mind. By altering conventional spatial relationships, they invited viewers to explore new realms of thought. How do you think the surreal use of space in these artworks influenced the viewer's understanding of reality and imagination? Exploring the history of space in art helps better show the range in ways this element creates depth and interest. As we go through this unit, we'll see many different artworks from various artists and times. But later in the unit, we'll have a special focus on the art of Giovanni di Paolo and Thomas Cole to see how these two specific artists used space. Let's circle back to the idea of envisioning space. Try this idea in the room you occupy. Take a moment to look around and choose 3 objects, one very close to you, one a bit farther away, and one as far away as you can see. Do you notice how the objects appear to change in size and detail depending on their distance from you? Now, grab your lesson materials and quickly sketch these 3 objects and the space surrounding them. Pay close attention to how their appearance changes with distance. Observe the intricate details you capture in the closest object compared to the simplicity of the farthest one. This exercise provides a glimpse into the concepts of space we'll continue exploring in this unit. Pause the video and try it out. Fantastic job exploring space today! Remember, understanding how artists use foreground, middle ground, and background helps us appreciate the depth and realism in their works. Whether it's the detailed foreground, the middle ground that strengthens the scene, or the distant background that sets the stage, each part plays a crucial role. And don't forget about positive and negative space, those essential elements that balance a composition and give our eyes a place to rest. As we move forward, keep observing how these concepts appear in different artworks and periods of art history. I can't wait to see how you'll use these techniques in your creations. Remember, art is all around you.
Hey, hey.